Today, we're diving deep into the story of one of humanity's oldest, most persistent enemies. It's a microscopic foe, one that has literally shaped our history and our genetics, and you know what? It's still a major threat across the globe. We're talking about malaria.
Way back in 1896, a physician named William Osler said that our single most terrible enemy was fever. And for millennia, right at the heart of that battle against fever has been one very specific, very nasty parasite.
And when we say this enemy is ancient, we are not kidding. It has been with us for so long that its actual genetic signature was found in the mummy of King Tut. Yep, the malaria parasite was plaguing Egyptian pharaohs more than 3,000 years ago.
Okay, so we've established its ancient roots for sure, but what is this adversary we're up against? Let's get to the specifics.
So, malaria is a disease caused by a tiny single-celled organism called a protozoan. It's not a virus, it's not a bacterium, it's its own thing. And it gets inside our bodies through a very specific delivery system, the bite of an infected female Anopheles mosquito. The name itself, Malaria, actually tells a really cool story. For centuries, people thought the disease came from the bad air, the malaria that rose up from swamps. They had no idea the real culprit was living in the swamps.
That mosquito bite isn't just a simple bite. It's the opening move. It's the start of a highly sophisticated biological invasion, a microscopic heist that plays out inside the human body. Think of this diagram as our map of that invasion. It shows every single step the parasite takes, from the mosquito into a human, and, this part's crucial, back to another mosquito to keep the whole cycle going. Let's trace the path.
So it all starts right here, with that bite. The parasites get injected into your bloodstream and immediately go into stealth mode. They make a beeline straight for the liver. And why the liver? Well, it's the perfect hideout for them to multiply, building their numbers from just a few invaders into a full-blown army, all while your body has no idea they're even there.
After this quiet incubation period, the stealth phase is over. The parasite army is ready to launch its main offensive, and the primary battleground is your own bloodstream.
So the parasites burst out of the liver cells and start their assault. Their new targets? Red blood cells. They invade them, hijacking the cell's own machinery to make thousands of copies of themselves. They literally turn our own oxygen-carrying cells into little parasite factories.
Now, once a red blood cell is packed full, it just ruptures. It bursts open, unleashing a huge new wave of parasites that go on to attack even more cells. This massive, synchronized explosion is the trigger. It's the event that finally sets off the alarm bells in your immune system, and it is the direct cause of the symptoms we all associate with malaria. The body's reaction to this periodic invasion, these waves of parasites bursting into the bloodstream, is what creates that iconic cyclical fever that has defined this disease for centuries.
And that response unfolds in three really distinct stages. First, you get the cold stage, intense, uncontrollable shivering as your body temperature starts to skyrocket. That's followed by the hot stage, a period of just burning, intense fever and headache. And finally, the sweating stage, where the fever breaks in this torrent of sweat, leaving the person completely exhausted. This whole horrible cycle is timed perfectly to those waves of parasites bursting from the red blood cells.
And it's so much more than just a fever. Malaria is a systemic disease. I mean, the destruction of red blood cells, the huge immune response, it affects the entire body. We're talking headache, fatigue, muscle pain, nausea. It is a full-body assault. And I really have to stress this. While the early symptoms might feel like the flu, severe malaria is a completely different animal. It is a medical emergency, and it can absolutely be fatal.
When the number of parasites gets really high, it can lead to devastating complications. I'm talking about cerebral malaria, where infected red blood cells clog up the blood vessels in the brain, causing seizures and coma. It can cause severe anemia from just so many red blood cells being destroyed, and it can even lead to total kidney or lung failure.
Now, while anyone can get severe malaria, some groups are especially vulnerable. For pregnant women, the disease can be catastrophic for both mother and child, leading to severe anemia for the mom and just tragic outcomes like fetal loss. And for young children whose immune systems are still developing, they're at a much higher risk for the worst complications like coma and life-threatening anemia.
So that's the invasion, and that's the damage it can cause. But for decades now, we've been developing our own counterattack. The battle against malaria is now fought in labs and clinics, with some pretty sophisticated tools for diagnosis and powerful drugs for treatment.
Finding the intruder is always step one. The gold standard is still microscopy. A trained technician looks at a drop of your blood under a microscope to literally see the parasites. It's incredibly accurate. But what if you're hours away from a lab? Well, that's where rapid diagnostic tests, or RDTs, are absolute game changers. They work kind of like a home pregnancy test, giving you a quick yes or no answer in just a few minutes, which means treatment can start right away.
Once that parasite is found, we have a really powerful weapon to fight back with: artemisinin-based combination therapy, or ACT. It's a potent cocktail of drugs that attacks the parasite from a few different angles. It clears the infection quickly and effectively, and it's really been the cornerstone of modern malaria treatment.
Which, brings us right back to where we started. From the courts of the pharaohs to modern-day clinics, humanity has been locked in this battle with a tiny parasite. We have new weapons, better defenses, and a deeper understanding of our enemy than ever before in history. But the question remains, after all this time, are we finally on the verge of winning?